stars in the prop room in the opening scene, but not in the actual game. No one falls into quicksand in this game. The game does not have a save feature. If you like a particular chapter, you have to replay the entire game in order to play it again.
The set is on a very old movie lot, which is apparently being made into a very modern theme park.
According to the pamphlet, the very modern theme park has only one ride, which is left over from the 1940s park. That's not very modern. Nancy encounters no traffic in Southern California. In real life, Hollywood and Illinois are not within easy driving distance of each other. There is a long tutorial that you can't skip. Nancy only visits 2 of these 5 locations. These fake answers are so fun, it makes me sad that you don't get real responses to them. Game saves on animation by only animating half of the characters' bodies, then saves on animation again by only having them move half the time.
Go outside to Main Street and get the Ankh out of the storage room behind the pawn shop, okay?
The Ankh is a prop. Why isn't it in the prop room? The Ankh is not in the room behind the pawn shop. The Ankh is in the pawn shop. If you get enough points, you get the bonus ending, but the game doesn't tell you how many points you need, so players are always left guessing as to how close they are. Multiple chapters start with a walking animation that lasts for more than 10 seconds. Clicking on the task button for more details is useless. This piece of paper has been lying here untouched for over 60 years. This piece of paper is still in perfect condition after being discarded on the ground for over 60 years. Nancy follows a scavenger hunt to fabulous treasure cliché. This game has way too much pixel hunting. Nancy's flashlight is on the action bar for the entire game, even though it barely gets used. The cat breaks things in the pawn shop, and Nancy doesn't care.
That's the cat Molly wants me to catch. I'd better go after it.
Nancy lets the cat run away before trying to catch it. With the lockpicking minigame, you can choose which of the upcoming items you want to use. You can't do this with the other minigames, even though it would be extremely useful. Nancy uses pliers to put a plug into an electrical outlet. Nancy doesn't shut the door behind her, which allows the cat to escape.
I can't quite reach it. I need something long and sticky.
The duct tape does not count as something sticky. Arthur has a complex series of puzzles in his office. How does he get any work done?
I guess I should answer that.
Nancy is breaking and entering in someone else's office, but she still answers their phone. Arthur calls his office to talk to Nancy. How did he know she was in there? Molly is full size here, then she shrinks to half size, then immediately becomes full size again. Why bother shrinking her in the first place?
Why Arthur insists on keeping an office down there is beyond me.
Arthur has a working office in an abandoned amusement park. Why did no one notice these papers earlier? Look at the levers. Notice how the bubble appears when it's time to use it? That happens a few times in this game, and it spoils the puzzle solutions. Obviously, the item that just appeared in the puzzle is the one you need to use. The ramp moving scene is 26 seconds long. Nancy whips the busts to knock them off of a high shelf, but they don't break. Who scratched out Ida's nameplate?
I've lost 2 pairs of Italian shoes in here.
Why does Ida have Italian shoes? She wears an Egyptian costume all the time.
Hey, you should head over to the Casbah and meet the people you'll be working with.
Good idea, except she won't work with them. The production assistant job is just to cover.
Me? Oh, yeah.
Nancy says, "Oh yeah," when the subtitles say, yeah.
I could really use some help here behind the bar. What do you say to taking care of a few of these smoothie orders?
Nancy does everyone else's chores cliché. Nancy is a production assistant, but this bar is not part of the production. It's a place where cast members like to eat. Therefore, Nancy shouldn't be forced to make smoothies here. If you solve the puzzle quickly, you don't get to hear all the gossip. It's like the game is punishing players for being good at puzzles.
All the time.
I don't think the set is cursed. I think it's haunted.
Why is Bess working in Hollywood?
You know who I can't stand? The snake wrangler guy.
Why is Ned working in Hollywood?
Have they put dog biscuits on the menu yet?
No, that's gross.
In those things anyway.
Blueberries, orange slices, and peanut butter.
Somehow those ingredients combine to form a green-colored drink. Arthur wrote a note to himself on a 75-year-old letter. Was that seriously the only piece of scrap paper he could find? Arthur says the clue is in the telltale heart. That's not specific enough to be helpful. I have to imagine Nancy was forced to read the entire story from the beginning until she found the clue he was referring to.
Unbeknownst to Ms. McKenna, is the real reason I suggested she hire you.
Arthur continues to sabotage the film, even after hiring a detective to solve the sabotage mystery.
That I am, Nancy. No need to apologize for breaking into my office.
Arthur acts like this is the first time Nancy broke into his office, even though earlier he called his office to talk to her.
I'd like you to have this. It's an old lock-picking kit.
Clearly, Nancy doesn't need a lock-picking kit since she broke into your office twice. Nancy has a lock-picking kit, but for most of the game, she ignores it in favor of finding hidden keys.
Correct. I have reason to believe that the director hid the missing footage somewhere on the set of the original movie.
What is the reason you have for believing this? Is it a letter from him? You should show Nancy this letter. Why is this note inside a full candy jar? Why does Nancy need to disguise herself? Can't she pretend she's at the hotel on work business? Nancy apparently doesn't have a room at this hotel. Where is she staying? The computer company begs Molly to write her password down so she doesn't have to call them anymore. Why is the company going out of its way to avoid making money? The card falls out of the boot, but the zoom-in has the card in the boot. Why does Nancy use her eyes to unscrew the pen cap? Doesn't it make more sense for her to use her hand to do this? This puzzle. I assume the manifest on the clipboard is the fake, since it was lying on the ground when Nancy first enters the room, whereas the other manifest is hidden behind a multi-step puzzle. That said, this is a terrible attempt at forgery. You can clearly see someone scribbled on it in pen.
That's not good. That stuff can also be used as an explosive.
Why keep explosives inside a prop room?
Digital decryptor. I can use this to hack into the chip from the security camera.
Why do you need to hack it? Just put the memory card into the computer and watch it normally. You got permission from Molly ahead of time. Sideways Tetris.
That's the same cloak I saw in the wardrobe room.
Only it didn't have a hood the last time you saw it. This game takes place over the course of a single night, yet Nancy reads 3 different articles by Lydia Lynn's paper. Either they print new editions multiple times per night, or these are old papers that everyone pretends are new. Why do they have lasers guarding Ida's locker, but none of the others? Why don't they have security guarding any of the other rooms in this game? Arthur, Molly, and Ida leave behind notes to themselves saying where they hid things. Why can none of the characters remember where they put their stuff? Why is it creepy that Ida and Lois look alike? They're playing the same historical character in the exact same movie. I'd be surprised if they didn't look alike.
Agapanthus africanus, or the lily of the Nile.
What's the point of the flower book?
Legend has it that Nefertiti was the original owner of this ginormous emerald that became known as the Jewel of Karnak.
That's the Jewel of Karnak.
The Jewel of Karnak is supposed to be a large diamond, but in the ending, it's rather small. Z.B. Collingwood left these music notes on his movie poster. They lead to the location of the blueprints, which were hidden years after the movie came out. He planned the scheme very far in advance. Why did someone leave their ID card inside a fountain? Why does George have Arthur's credit card? This puzzle.
Go over to the Casbah and keep your ears open. Listen for the latest gossip on Ida.
I'll have to figure that out as soon as I'm done snooping in here.
Nancy came to hear gossip, not to snoop. The only way to get the key is to break the glass. Do they put the key there every night? Because it must be crazy expensive to replace that pane of glass on a regular basis. Nancy has to upgrade her decryptor because it can only process video, not audio. How useless is a video player that doesn't include audio?
George entering his code. Perfect.
Nancy claims her decryptor can't process audio, but it gave her audio when she used it earlier. Nancy manages to play all of this when she was only given the first 6 notes. By coincidence, the song on the piano tonight is the exact same song that was put on the poster over 70 years ago. Nancy goes to the docks because of this song, but she was going to visit the docks anyway, so the entire song thing is kind of useless. The pop-up text covers items that Nancy wants to read. The blueprints clearly show there's a pathway to the docks behind the pawn shop, but Nancy doesn't try to use it. The trunk is clearly empty, but Nancy finds a box of tools inside it. Who moved the box of tools from last time? Why didn't the car move when Nancy used the statue last time? According to the game, Nancy goes through a wall to reach the docks. According to the map, she goes around the area. The game has 1.5 minutes of uninterrupted exposition.
I wonder if that buoy is marking something.
How did nobody find the blueprints in the past 60 years? There is a buoy marking where they are. This puzzle. Why does Nancy need to get rid of the crows? Why can't she just ignore them and go straight to the cellar? The game has 2 time challenges in a row. Why can't Nancy use her flashlight in this dark room? Why does Arthur keep bolt cutters in a locked safe? Arthur's envelope leads to the Ark, which leads to the final key. How did he know this old prop was vital to finding the lost footage?
In fact, if I were you, I'd figure out how to sneak a peek inside that safe in his office.
How did Ida know Arthur had a vital clue hidden in his office? Why didn't Nancy find this clue the first time she explored Arthur's office? By coincidence, all the characters show up at the exact same place at the exact same time.
Darn, the passage is blocked. But it looks like someone's been using Flashboom to get deeper underground.
How? Nancy didn't unlock this pathway until a few moments ago. Why is this a time challenge? In real life, a constant stream of light doesn't disappear after a few seconds. Again, why can't Nancy use her flashlight in this dark room?
Wow, cool. Let's check this place out.
And by that, Nancy means let's look at the area to the left. This puzzle.
Oh my gosh. If someone were to die as tragically and mysteriously as Lois Manson did on this movie, oh my gosh, it would make headlines all over the world.
Oh my gosh, that way I could not only say that I found the letter, but that I tried to save you. Only you did something stupid, and it was all I could do to save myself. Oh my gosh, I'd make the national news for sure.
After Nancy removes a series of planks, the airhead celebrity tries to boost her own fame by killing Nancy in a cave-in. This is a pretty blatant repeat of the culprit reveal from Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. How did Nancy get Flashboom here? Did the culprit let her borrow it? The Flashboom minigame appears 4 times in the final chapter. The lost footage is clearly designed for a projector, but Nancy plays it on a modern computer.
She must have been some kind of spy or federal witness or something.
Lois faked her own death, so Nancy assumes she's a spy. Those 2 things are not necessarily related. The jewel's the same size as Lois's eyes, now it's much larger than Arthur's eyes.
Come again? I'm afraid I don't follow. Huh? Huh? Interesting. Maybe you should go lie down. You lost me. I'm not sure what to say. I beg your pardon. That doesn't make sense. Sorry. What?
Huh? That's interesting. That's nice. Okay. Any other pearls of wisdom? Did that make sense to you? Is there something wrong with you?
Are you feeling all right? I'm not following. Huh? You lost me. Okay. Next question. I don't know what to say. That doesn't make sense.
I'm getting confused.
That was funny!
Huh? That's interesting. You're pulling my leg, right? Are you on medication?
Say what?
Now that's just silly. You're strange. What? You're a riot.